going? 15 minutes on that clock.
Good morning. I think we need to back up just a little bit so that our heads are not being...
Chopped it off?
Yeah.
I'm going to chop off my head.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay, good morning, everybody.
Woo, here he is. A little earlier than normal, but that's because I got to open the shop today.
Yeah.
Hey,
You're...
praise the Lord.
No, that's not what I mean.
We have work.
No, I'm praising God for that.
Gotcha.
It's so funny because I have been saying we need to do these 15 minutes.
Well, now maybe we have a reason, see?
Uh-huh.
See, for men need a reason. It just can't be arbitrary because it's just out there.
Because the wifey has done some research and she says we might need to do
Well, I didn't say I doubted the wifey's
took
research.
a little bit of a poll and...
It's not that only.
What is it then? Good morning, you guys.
You know, I think we're going to start this live over with a little more respect.
Hey, by the way, we don't match.
That's true. It's because I'm wearing cooler clothes.
Ooh.
Look at there.
You guys, I know we're a little early, but Brad does need to go early into work, and he has some extra responsibilities there. But I'm very thankful for that.
Yep.
But I did not want to tackle this all by myself, and so today...
We're going to start a week-long conversation.
Yes, we are going to start a week-long conversation. This is really, really great because, you know, what happens when we have, there is such an influx and constant barrage, if you will, of different belief systems coming at us from left, right, and center on a consistent basis. As parents of teens, like we're constantly being on guard to see what kind of philosophies of men, if you will, come in and all of that. But that starts by us modeling for them, how do you keep things straight for you? How do you listen to what is truth? And how do you say no to what is not truth without coming from a place of fear? So, for example, I came from a certain circle where if it wasn't published by a certain publishing house, you better not read it because it's dangerous stuff. And it was kind of coming from a place of fear. Yeah. And so as I started raising kids, it helped me understand me. Yeah. And so here's the thing. You have to understand what's truth first. Yeah. And when you are well established in what is truth, where does truth come from, how does it affect who you are? Because it does. Yeah. That is the one thing that affects who you are, how you view yourself, how you view the world, how you view God. Then the moment that happens, without fear, you've got all the right filters in place. So as soon as something comes in, you go, that doesn't line up with the word. Oh, that doesn't line up with God. Yeah. And what he says in his word, the Bible, that doesn't line up. Ooh, that has enough truth in it to make it dangerous because it's this mixture weirdness. That right there needs to be tossed aside because it's not truth. Yeah. But it's not the conglomerate of well, at church they told us, right? No, you have to kind of always go back to the Word of God. So I just wanted to introduce this subject because it's not just for our kids. Yeah. It's not just for us. It's for anybody who we're helping to get well established in their journey with God, in their journey of faith. Yeah. So. Well, I mean, you know, Brad is now going to take it.
Well, and I think, you know, because you had a conversation, you know, part of what this was is from one of our regular viewers. Yes. You know, you had a conversation because we knew them years ago, and when they had just come to faith, and then just through stuff, they kind of went on a different journey and kind of have been having varying influences, and now they look back and go, shake their head and go, how did I get here? And is here correct?
Where I'm supposed to be.
What is it true? Well, again, is here true? Because I know in our culture today, truth is one of the biggest hot topics out there, you know, because people talk about how, and it's been this way since probably the 70s, relativism, is, truth is relative. What's true for you may not be true for me. And you can write your own truth and I can write my own truth, and they can all be true, and we can all stand back and say, yep, it's this way and that way. And that's not true. Not to be funny, but I mean, so truth is the subject under discussion.
For sure.
What is truth? Because I think we are all and seeking, now I think where we are in our own ways, we are all seeking what is true because we all feel the lack of truth
all
in our culture. All around
absolutely.
us, everybody you talk to, no matter where they are on the faith spectrum with God, if you will, or with Jesus, everyone is in search of truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because truth is like a homing beacon.
Yes.
Right, homing
beacon.
That's what I was trying to say. It's like a homing.
Take a sip of coffee.
Oh, thank you. It's like a homing beacon.
Yes.
That's on the inside of us to point, because we're looking for that constantly. Because we were made, created, designed.
Absolutely.
To hone in on what is truth. Right.
Good.
See?
You did it.
Well, thank you. Because it's I'm trying to think, because it's we're just wired for it.
Right, absolutely.
The reason why I'm kind of hesitating here is because having a new thought in this kind of, and I think that's why people, in a good way, pursue what is right and what is wrong.
Yes.
Right. It's not. I mean, sure, there's some people out there that can just be jerky about it, and they just want to rub everybody
So here's something you need to understand about history. Every new generation is reacting to the previous generation. And so they are constantly trying to, say, what did we like, what did we not like, whether this is a conscious effort or not. Most people are just like, I didn't like the way life was when I was growing up. These things were not congruent. These things were hypocritical. These things, and they, as humans tend to do, we look for all the bad. And then we go, so that's not going to happen to me. So we swing the pendulum all the way to the other side, and that's most of history, if you notice. When it comes to history of the arts and history of just the movements and all this other stuff, they're constantly being reactionary rather than taking a step forward into truth.
Yeah. Well, and so let's talk about, so we're kind of setting this up because what we're going to talk about then is, and what we have to help is the source then of truth. Because there has to be, I use the analogy all the time. For a number of years, I did light constructions, did a handyman job. And I always talk about how tape measures are wonderful things.
Yes,
right? Because tape measures, all they do is they just tell you how long something is.
That's right.
That they're not mean about it. There's no attitude in a tape measure. There's no bad feelings in a tape measure. Tape measure, you snap it on, you pull it, and it is what it is.
That's right.
And the tape measure, if it had a personality, it'd just look at you and kind of go, because we jokingly, we would jokingly say, I cut that board twice and it's still too short. And so that's the thing with tape measures. Tape measures, you pull them and you read them and it lines up or it doesn't line up.
That's right.
And guys, that's truth.
That's truth.
And we are surrounded, whether we want to admit it or not, we are surrounded. If we would just look and go, there's truth looking at me in the face.
Yes.
Whether I like it or not, whether it tells me I measure up or not, whether it tells me I'm right or I'm wrong, whether it tells me whatever it tells
me. Whatever it tells me. That's right.
You know what I mean? It pulls, again, I'm not trying to be mean, but I always laugh. I pick on us men here for a little bit, but it's like scales, like in the bathroom.
Oh.
Right? It's the same thing. You step on the bathroom scale and it goes, that's what you weigh. There it is. And I love men sometimes we could go, don't look too bad. Have you ever noticed that? I saw some funny meme years ago and it showed a lady who was, she was a little overweight, but she wasn't like bad,
Yeah.
but she looked at herself in the mirror and they morphed it in this cartoon to make it look like she was grossly obese or something like that.
Because of our own perception.
Because your own perception. And then you saw a guy who was really overweight and he looks at himself in the mirror and he looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's got muscles and,
because of your perception.
But the scale looks at you and goes, Brad, you weigh 215 pounds. That's what whether you like it or
what you weigh right now? Oh, no, honey.
So whether you like it or not, whether you want to be that or not,
That's right.
whether that's your ideal or not, whether that's
right.
whatever, it just looks at you and goes,
That's where you are.
what it is. And guys, listen.
Numbers don't lie.
that's truth.
That's right.
And I think we have this thing of this misconception about in the pursuit of truth, we don't want to see what is.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that has been the curse since the fall, since Adam and Eve sinned. They didn't want to look back and go, oh, yeah, we did it. We ate the thing. What you thinking?
I'm just thinking about, a couple generations ago, I'm thinking of especially my grandparents here and my great-grandparents. So, but they just look at you and tell you.
Yeah.
And then expect you
just go, okay.
To go, okay, and line up, right?
Yeah.
And not in a mean way, but truth was a very much part of their everyday life, and they were searching for truth very earnestly.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with our emotions, and it had nothing to do with our feelings. It had nothing to do with us searching for sensationalism or, just weird stuff, tickle my ears with something new.
Mm-hmm.
It had everything to do with foundational life truth. And they just, I just remember knowing that, remember feeling like and knowing, well, you might want to watch what you say and and actually think about it before you open your mouth in front of great grandma or great grandpa or whatever, because not everything that comes out of your mouth is going to be well received.
Yeah.
And when it's not well received, they actually let you know. What do you call that? No bars hold?
No holds barred.
No holds barred. That's not true.
Yeah.
That's not true. You need to consider your source. You need to think before you speak. You need to There was just a whole different feel about it, I guess, is why I was.
Well, some of that. Well, the thing is, here. So we're going to need to land the plane for time's sake, but we're starting, and this was very much just a big introduction.
Absolutely.
So this week we want to talk about then the greatest source of truth that we have as humans. Mm-hmm. What is our greatest source of truth? Mm-hmm. A little bit of how we have confidence in it. Now, again, we won't be able to do this complete justice in a week, know.
Yep.
But the thing about it is part of our truth isn't sexy. Like tape measures aren't sexy. Like, power saws and specialty tools. Now those are sexy. You know what I mean? Those are like, rah, does that mean? But truth just is there. And I think truth just, it just never changes. It's stable. Mm-hmm. It's unerring. Mm-hmm. It's unpretentious. It's not flashy.
Nor is it being judgmental.
Yeah, and it's not
condemning.
It's just true.
Yeah.
And the real success in life is to learn to love truth.
That's right.
No matter what, because when we learn to pursue what is actually true, and again, I'm not talking about perceived truth.
Right.
Right, but actual and again to bring in, to go to our Creator, to go to our Heavenly Father, to go to God and say, God, truth. Mm-hmm. I want truth. And again, I remember, and we'll have to land on this. I remember as a teenager, right? I would be all Mr. Macho, and I would go up to my mom and whatever the topic was, and I say, and if we sound like a bad movie, I'd say, "Tell me the truth, Mom," and she'd look at me like Jack Nicholson. You can't handle the truth, and And I'm like, no, I'm a man. I can take it. And so she would tell me the truth, and then I'd get my feelings hurt. I'd get all upset. I'd get all mad. I'd maybe cry a little bit and go, oh, what? And she'd stop and go, now remember, you said you wanted truth.
Right.
So there it is. But I was so appreciative that she did that for me and with me.
Amen.
Because in my life,
good mama.
I do. In my life, I wanted, Lord, truth again, because truth, as Jesus said, truth is the only thing that will actually bring freedom.
Absolutely.
Anything other than truth, and we will live obviously in a lie, but living in a lie means we live in we live in bondage, but we live in a false world. We live in a shadow land.
Nothing is as it seems, and nothing seems to work ever.
And nothing works, and there's no satisfaction, and there's no happiness, and there's no joy, and there's no contentment. Why? Because truth is what sets us free. And many people in their life, they live with their quote unquote bondage of the day because they just don't want to know the truth. They don't want to hear. And we've all dealt with folks like that where you have to look at them and go, I'm going to tell you what you don't want to. I mean, I was thinking about this the other day, and I don't know why, maybe because I'm approaching 50 this year or whatever, but I was introspective and I was laying in bed and I was going, most of my real problems that I've had, like people problems with people, is because it started with, I told them a truth they didn't want to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, if I go back and look at it and go, really, the biggest issues I've had in all across, from work-related, church-related, friendship-related, is that somewhere along the journey, I told them what was true. Now, again, as much as I know how, I try to do it kindly. I try to do it gently. I try to do it strategically. I try to do it appropriately. I try to, I'm trying to be like Jesus. I try to do a little bit sneaky, try to slip it like Mary Poppins, slip it in a spoonful of sugar, help the medicine go down. But at the end of the day, I mean, I just think, especially over our church world, most of the people who have ever left our ministry or our churches, it's because I told them a truth they didn't want to hear. And in that truth, they didn't want the truth. They didn't want the truth about healing. They didn't want the truth about the forgiveness of their sins. They didn't want the truth about prosperity. They didn't want the truth about you don't live for yourself and life is not about you. Life is about Him.
Yeah.
They didn't want truth. Not because it was untrue. Because some of those people later came back and go,
Yeah, you were right.
Anyway, but I gotta go. So we love you guys.
Thank you for tuning in. I know it was a little early, so
let us know
most of you guys are gonna watch this on replay. Do please put a comment in there that lets us know that. That'd be amazing.
where you're at and where you're watching from, and check out thehollimans.com.
Yes.
And we will talk to you tomorrow.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye.